Okay. No, that's for something else.
Last meeting.
Oh, here, I got you. I figured it out. No idea.
I'd like to call to order the Economic Development and Energy Committee meeting. And Pledge of Allegiance, Jake, Legislator Elmer, I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a slip right there.
So glad we did that.
She didn't call him honey.
Honey.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Crowley,
Present.
Legislator D'Angelo,
Present.
Chairwoman Russo.
Present. Okay, I'd like to have acceptance of the minutes from the November 20th, 2025 meeting. Any questions or concerns? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then if we can get the Tara Keegan, and if you have anybody else with you? Okay. To discuss the approval of Budgetary Amendment 26A011, tourism to reduce the I Love New York program funding.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairwoman Russo, Legislator Crowley, Legislator D'Angelo. Oh, sorry, apologies. And to the rest of the members of the legislature here. Yes, I'm back here again, just once again asking our routine annual request to transfer the county portion, a reduction of the county portion out of the I Love New York line to be submitted to, broken down of two lines. The request is to take out the $9,316 over to two lines, books and supplements, and the advertising line. $8,000 will go into the books and supplement line, and the remaining $1,316 will go into the advertising.
Great. Any questions from the committee? I know there's no fiscal impact.
No, absolutely not. There's no fiscal impact for this request.
Any fellow legislators?
Yes,
I recognize Legislator Birmingham.
thank you. Thank you, Tara, for this. Just a quick question. Can you tell us a little bit about the Rove system? It's apparently a database that will be helpful to you.
So Rove is a well-recognized company that is actually used, that is approved through New York State. They use them as well. We signed into a co-op with our partners in Hudson Valley Tourism, so that is other counties, so the directors of other counties in the Hudson Valley region. This company provides us really valuable and essential data that we need to know regarding to knowing how many people come to stay overnight in Putnam County, where they're coming from. Are they international? Are they local visitors from like Westchester? Or are they coming from other states? This tells us like how long they're staying. This just gives us a trend where they're going to as well. Are they sticking to? So we can better understand how to market our tourism funding to try to promote our county, try to spread the knowledge. So this is a very important knowledge, and this is doing this co-op is a very cost-effective way for us to afford it. If we were to do it ourselves, we would not be able to afford it. It would drain us because it's very expensive to just do it by yourself. By doing this co-op, we're getting a good amount of data for a good bang for a buck. So this is the best possible thing to do this way with this company.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other legislators? Recognize Legislator Montgomery.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Does the data give us data by town as well, where they're staying? In what town, what restaurants they're visiting?
Well, if they're staying overnight, like stuff we could see by a breakdown of each town that way. Mostly it's just a trend of overall in the county, understanding where they're coming on, like how many hours, if it's minutes, and stuff like that. We do have some points of interest as well that we are able to do through the so we're able to see those areas, how long they're staying in those locations.
So it is giving you location, like town.
To a certain extent, yes. But especially for staying overnight, we'll know, break down by town, where they're, which town they're staying in, and like how long are they staying for and also this, with the data, we can know if they're staying for a couple days and stuff, so we just know, that's the whole issue, important stuff data we need to have through Rove.
And does it give any info regarding restaurants and food service and that portion of the tourism industry?
I mean, for what we can afford through the co-op, this is what I can, for that kind of funding, I don't know if they would specifically give it, we have to give them specific points of restaurants, interest for those restaurants.
Just, I ask because I've had businesses call and inquire, and a lot of times to attract businesses to our area, they want to know, can we put butts in seats in a restaurant? And there's never been, for as long as so I really appreciate this tool, but for as long as I've, been involved in local government, we've never been able to give that data to anybody. So it would be really helpful to see that, as we're not going to attract a lot of hotel businesses or open any up that I can see in the foreseeable future, but certainly attracting, I've solicited restaurateurs to say, hey, you want to open a restaurant in my town? So in order to get them to do that, we need that data. So that would be super helpful.
I mean, yeah, we could probably expand it later on and maybe times for future investments, but right now, what we can afford, is what we can afford with this, and this is the best option. More of that data costs more money, but this is the most cost-effective way for us to start off. We can maybe visit it for next year. But we can, at least with the data, we can tell if they're staying overnight for a couple days, because what we're looking at it right now, there's people who are staying maybe 3 or 4 days, so that means they are going to our local restaurants, they're going to, because some of these individuals were international, so I could see that those people coming from, that were based in Brazil, that came up to Putnam County. So they stayed for a few days, so we know they have invested, either going to they stayed for like 3 days, so we know they had to have invested into our restaurants in Putnam County.
Great. I'm a big fan of data. Thanks.
Legislator Crowley?
I did a quick search today on fun places in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, and Connecticut. And I said, please leave out New York City for people to go and visit. And one of the top places to go was Cold Spring, New York. To go and visit, and all the attractions and all the things it had. And it hit kind of everything. It had live music, it had the arts, it had nature, it had a lot of different things. So I think it's important that we continue to, support the different aspects that we have throughout the county and tourism, and I'm very much in favor of this. So thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone from the public have any comments? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you, Chair.
Good night.
And then the next agenda item is an FY, the unemployment rates. Any questions? You could review it. Any other business? Seeing there's no other business, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Audit and Administration Committee of Putnam County. Today is March 30th, and I'd like to call on Legislator Russo to say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got it? Okay. I'm going to call on the clerk to call the roll.
Legislator Regan,
Present.
Legislator Russo,
Present.
Chairwoman Crowley.
Present. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to remove item 23, which is the approval authorizing an audit of the Putnam County Soil and Water Conservation District monies received by the county. I'm doing this because as of today, the IMA has been signed by everybody who requested, that the IMA requested it to be signed by. So that was on the 26th, Chairwoman Roth signed it, and today at 2:21, it was signed by Risk Manager Bruno, by Compton Spain, the county attorney, and by County Executive Kevin Byrne. At this time, I believe it, and I know it to be returned back to the chairwoman, and I am going to ask that if we need to revisit this, that we can, but at this time, I'm going to make a motion to remove it. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion? This is a motion that can be discussed,
At this time, I'm not recognizing your legislature.
but I'm a member of the committee,
I understand.
so
I'm striking to remove it
without discussion,
without discussion.
really.
You don't have to recognize other legislators like you told Chairman Regan the other day.
But I'm a member of this committee, as chair. I'm an ex officio member. Are you not recognizing a member of the committee?
Right now, I'm choosing to strike it.
I know, and I'm asking for discussion on this. I just have a simple question for you.
Go ahead, Legislator Byrne.
Yes, thank you. Are you asking for 60 days to consider this again, or are you just striking it?
I'm removing it at this time because I feel it meets all of the qualifications and of all the requests that were made in the approval and the resolution 384. Everything has been signed off on. I think Commissioner Carlin can agree that a bill number was assigned and returned back to Chairwoman Roth today, and she will have full abilities to do whatever she needs to, and that's what I'm saying. If she chooses, she can bring this back if she's not getting what she needs now that she has the IMA, and bring it back to our attention.
Right, but she didn't submit this to this legislative committee. I did. And I still have significant questions as to the ins and outs of the money. And so if this committee, I did not hear you're asking for 60 days, so what I will do then is forward it to the Budget and Finance Committee at a future date, unless you want 60 days to consider it.
You can forward it to wherever you
Okay,
like.
that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a question? The audit is for exchange of monies in the past. The
Right.
IMA is for what we do moving forward. So why are we not suggesting the audit? That's
It's
what,
a forensic audit. I didn't believe a forensic audit was appropriate, and I wanted Chairwoman Roth to be here to speak on it. I don't see her anywhere.
well, I believe it needs to
Okay, well,
happen because it's obvious from almost a year and a half of requests from this committee to clean up the soil and water district. That was a disaster, and this committee of volunteers who's worked really hard for over a year to clean this up requested an audit.
Actually, no, Chairman Birmingham requested the audit.
As per their request.
Yes.
Okay.
And as as suggestion of the state comptroller.
So I'm saying, right now, the IMA gives them the ability to have all access, and I'm going to call on.
They don't have, this is about monies that were moved around or not moved around in the past.
I'm
That's what an
gonna call on
audit is. It's not,
Legislative Counsel, DC, please.
Through the chair, just, I wanted to let you know that Ms. Roth indicates she does intend to appear, she just is not here yet.
Okay, well, at this time, I'm going to remove it for right now because the IMA has been signed and it gives her the ability to do whatever she needs to do. We also have another auditor, and we have, Michelle is here, Sharkey, and we have PKF O'Connor Davies to audit. And I would like her to take the IMA and see what she can get.
The
done.
IMA has nothing to do with the audit.
It has to do with the fact that she has the ability to obtain whatever she needs to now that the IMA was signed.
No, it doesn't. That's not what an audit does. An IMA is a relationship between the county and the district. Has nothing to do with.
Would you like to come on up?
No, I have no
Thank you.
problem. What I was wondering is why a forensic audit is being requested. A forensic audit usually indicates some sort of malfeasance.
Pardon me, sir, despite your stature, please identify yourself.
I'm sorry.
I know you.
She said, Commissioner Carmel,
Thank you, Bill.
a forensic audit usually suggests the malfeasance or fraud. So if we're going the route of a forensic audit, my question would be why? Why not just ask for an examination? You have two auditors that can audit these records you're talking about. Your own auditor and O'Connor Davies, who's coming in next week, who have asked for the Part C reconciliation. So you're going to have your own auditor can do something, the independent auditor you hire can do something, yet why are we going to the state? And why are we asking for a forensic audit?
Those are all things I just brought up,
If-
so.
If I could respond, if there's a
I
question,
didn't know if you didn't go through the chair.
well, that's why I'm asking if I could respond. I wasn't asking Bill if I could respond, I'm asking you if I can respond. Thank you. You might recall, Bill, we've been down this road before. I don't view forensic audits as anything nefarious. In fact, if you remember in '08 or '09, we did the golf course audit through the State Controller's Office. And it was a very helpful tool. I don't view this audit, and just for some background, myself and Laura serve on the Soil and Water Conservation District Board as your representatives on the legislature, and we voted on this, the board did, last 2 weeks ago, to ask for it. And, I don't view a forensic audit in the way you do, because it's a tool that we have. 2 meetings ago of the Soil and Water Conservation District Board, we passed a resolution unanimously to ask the state controller to perform an audit. And our chair went ahead and reached out to them to make sure they received that request, and they did. And they were the ones that had suggested, hey, I'm not going to say they said they were short-staffed, but they were wondering if we could, meaning the county legislature, or actually they said, could you have an audit performed on the county's books? And of
Which
course,
you do.
well, hang on a second. And of course, Cassandra responded by saying, well, listen, we're just a Soil and Water Conservation District Board. We can't audit anything of the counties, meaning the board can't, the district board can't. So at the meeting we had a week or two ago, we passed a resolution to ask this legislature to do an audit. Like I said, the golf course audit, I think, gave us a lot of tools. All 9 of us legislators signed a letter to the state controller back then, asking the state controller to look at the way, at the time, the golf course was managed. It was being managed by a private company that was, the president of which was a county department head, and it was also being run by that management company, but also the county highway, what we used to call the, Sam remembers, he was one of the ones that signed that letter. It was also being run by the Highways and Facilities Committee, Department of the county. So it was neither fish nor fowl. I kept saying that, anytime we'd ask, okay, did the county spend money on this? We were told, no, the private company was spending money on that. And then we would say, okay, did the private company spend money on this for that? No, it was the county spending. So we were always getting this. And it was a great tool, I think, that the state auditor helped us with, the state controller. And that's all we're looking for here, is just a tool. You're right, we do have an auditor that audits everything, an excellent auditor. O'Connor Davies is renowned not only through the Hudson Valley region, but throughout New York State for what they do. But as you know, their audit only tests the books, your books as Commissioner of Finance. It doesn't go into necessarily specific line by line. We've got over 30,000 lines in our budget. So what this request from the Soil and Water Conservation District Board requested was a specific audit on the ins and outs of when money was coming in, from whether they're Part A, B, or C monies, and where they went out. Now, having said that, a lot of the audit is going to discover, I would think, things coming back to us, this legislature. Most of, if not all of them, I'm sure, were based on county legislative resolutions.
Which are listed in the backup I provided.
Indeed, but I think what was the concern last week is that we want to have something, meaning the board, the Conservation District Board, now I'm speaking, and I'm wearing two hats here, but again, that's not a conflict, that's part of my role as a legislator to represent this legislature on the Soil and Water Conservation District Board. They want to have, and as it was expressed in the meeting a week and a half ago, just an accounting of everything. I mean, we've heard about the Post-it note, we've heard about that, and, you know, there's still some questions that the board has, and I don't think it's a bad thing to ask for it. I don't view any sort of nefariousness afoot at all here. I mean, I don't, and I can tell you, you know, we have a Soil and Water Department, which was formed in 1993, and that's an appropriate department. There's nothing wrong with that. What I think we want to do is perhaps hope this audit would give us better practices going forward with respect to the, and maybe that'll be solved going forward. As Legislator Montgomery said, we now have an IMA that clearly delineates that, but I still think we can learn some lessons over the way things were done in the past. So if this committee doesn't want to entertain it, that's fine. I can refer it to the Budget and Finance Committee, and we can discuss it there, not at tonight's Budget and Finance Committee meeting, but at a future one. And I might be 1 out of 9. I might be the only one who wants one, but I don't think it's any shameful thing to ask for it. And I really don't view it as any punitive or any sort of, nefarious endeavor. Because, Bill, I mean, we've known each other for 50 years. Yeah, and so anyway, that's where I'm going with that. So that's what it'll be.
Any questions?
Thank you. Please, through the
Senator
chair.
Reagan?
Yes, thank you. To the chair, asking a question of Commissioner Carlin. Could you differentiate or explain to those of us who may not have accounting degrees, the difference between a forensic audit and what you had just pointed out right there?
A forensic audit makes a supposition, we can look it up on AI, that there's a malfeasance, possible fraud, embezzlement, and I don't think any of that has occurred here. And I don't think, and tonight Dan eloquently cleared up what he was asking for, but unfortunately, when that term gets thrown around, especially in this county, and you know, years ago, it was thrown around by somebody to be used as a political tool. You know that.
If I can, still to the chair, I've got to ask though, but is the implication of going through a forensic audit to bypass our existing ordinance structure?
You can also ask for just a regular audit from the state controller.
IMA, no, they're asking for a forensic.
What got to me was forensic audit,
they asked
because
specifically for
how
forensic.
Dan means it, and he explained tonight, was not in here, but there are a lot of people out there that have a different idea of what a forensic audit means.
So I think the resolution here, states what it needed back. Resolution 384 gives a lot of background. I can read it if you'd like. And at this point, I'm going to call the question for a second to my motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. We're going to move on to
It's ridiculous. I don't
Item
mean
number
any
3.
malfeasance by suggesting it. This is a complicated issue.
Point of order.
That's why it's needed. It's been going on for over a year.
Excuse me. Number 3 is correspondence from the county auditor. 3A, sales tax report. Please take a look at it. Item 3B is.
Can I make a comment about the sales tax? I always like to point out for the public
Legislator
because,
Montgomery, you sure can.
thank you, because they're watching and they don't have necessarily access to these documents, and while our commissioner is here, it looks like we're down sales tax revenue.
We're
and
we're over
February.
budget, but we're down actual to actual from last year. But as I point out, you really won't know how you're doing till the end of the quarter. The final payment is the reconciliation payment. The first two payments, first 2 months of payments, excuse me, are based on what the state usually gave out last year. And then as the final quarterly reports are made, they reconcile, and then you have an idea of what you're doing. It's always the last payment at the end of the state's fiscal quarter, which,
And just to let everybody know, the town of Carmel with the sales tax distribution received $30,819. Town of Kent, $11,841. Town of Patterson, $10,593. Town of Phillipstown, $6,628. Putt Valley, $10,796. Southeast, $14,273. Brewster, $2,000, my eyes are, $302. Cold Spring, $1,823, and Nelsonville, $573. So that's what our towns are receiving from the tax sharing that we did last year. So I think it's important for the public to know that as well. Any questions from any legislators?
and you should also know that because the resolution started December 1st, that's only 2 months, because it's the first quarter. So those payments should be going up higher in the future.
Any questions from any of the public? We'll move on to 3B, which is board in revenue. We are down a little. Any questions from any legislators? Questions from the public? Okay, we're going to move on to 3C. Transfer revenue report. FYI. Please review it. Any questions from any legislators? Any public? 3D, 2026 contingency report. We have a beginning balance of $750,000 in our general contingency. And you can review the rest. Any questions from any legislators? Public? Okay. Item 4, correspondence from the Commissioner of Finance. A is an FYI overtime temporary report. Bill?
Well, we got whacked in snow and ice, but as you know, that's seasonal. We'll see how we end up the year. We had a rough winter this year. They're obviously ahead of schedule, but all the snow and ice overtime, the way the climate's been going, is spent in the spring, and there's really not as much near the end of the year. So hopefully we'll be able to make it through, but if not, the budgetary amendments will come near the end of November and December.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee?
I do.
Legislator Regan?
Through the chair, asking how do we track our snow overtime versus regular overtime when it comes to our employees? Is there a
Oh, there is.
methodology?
Yep, there is. We need it for the state snow and ice agreements. Now, we don't only track snow and ice versus other overtime, but county snow and ice versus state snow and ice. So
Okay.
there are timesheets that are signed off by employees and supervisors, and there's been a method that's been developed and accepted by the state for years.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to 4B.
I just have a
Oh, I'm
quick,
sorry.
yeah, no problem, no problem.
Senator Ringham.
Thank you, through the chair. Bill, I noticed the EI.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bill's doing a budgetary amendment on that.
okay. Early intervention's been
Yes,
up?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I know Commissioner Cervedy will be here for the Health Committee meeting. I'm sure she'll be able to let us know what's going on there. But certainly, it's something that we'll tend to. Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions from any other legislators? Any questions from the public? We're going to do 4B, the approval of budgetary amendment 25A 128, finance end of year entry number 4. There, you're on again.
Yep, this is hopefully the final cleanup before the auditors come. They're due April 6th through the 17th. They'll be in this room. If any of you want to come by and ask any questions, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to entertain you. They'll be auditing our books that week. We're on time. I think our books are in very good shape, so hopefully we'll get through this audit season uneventfully.
Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? I make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
4C is the approval of budgetary amendment 26A010, Department of Social Services Mental Health and Youth Bureau account for state aid shelter arrears assistance. This was also reviewed in health. This is zero fiscal impact. It's shelter arrears, and it's in the amount of $15,600.
It's formula funding. We're just adjusting to what the state's giving us.
Okay, any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? I make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 4D, approval budgetary amendment 26A011 tourism account for funding reduction from New York State. I Love New York. We just reviewed that in ECO. It is zero fiscal impact. We're moving from subcontingency over. Does any of the legislators have any questions on this? Public? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For E is the approval of budgetary amendment 26A012, Department of Social Services Mental Health and Youth Bureau Child Advocacy Center, adjust state aid levels. This was reviewed in personnel. There is zero fiscal impact in 26 and 27, and the amount is $19,653. It's for different personnel services, kitchen equipment, office supplies, equipment rental, lease, education and training. Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? Like to make a motion to approve? All in favor, or do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For F is the approval of budgetary amendment 26A015, the historian newspaper digitization project, also reviewed in health. This is, we were given donations of $835. This is zero fiscal impact. Any?
No, just a comment. This is one of the many things that Dan and I do share in common. He was a great friend of both of us. So, rest in peace, Greg.
Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? I'd like to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
4G is the approval of budgetary amendment 26A016, finance. Change funding source of DSS security capital project from borrowed funds to capital projects reserved, also reviewed in physical. This is for $800,000, and there's zero fiscal impact in 26 and 27. It's for a DSS security capital project approved in the capital project budget, and it was borrowed funds for the
Right.
capital project reserve.
It was borrowed funds. It was projected to be a year or two out the road. It's moved to the front burner, as they explained in physical, and we'd rather not borrow. We'd rather use pay-as-you-go funds rather than borrow.
Okay, any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is 4H, approval of budgetary amendment 26A017, probation ignition interlock grant award, also reviewed and protective. This is in the amount of $35,000 and no fiscal impact. This is the device that they put in when you get a DWI, it goes into your ignition. Do we have any questions from, and it's a grant. Do we have any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? I'd like to make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
4I is the approval of Budgetary Amendment 26A018, Department of Social Services, Mental Health and Youth Bureau adjusts state aid levels. This was also reviewed in health. This is for zero fiscal impact in the amount of $33,865 of state aid from OEOP Crime Opportunities, so that's the Office of Educational Opportunity Programs, and we are buying furniture, computer equipment, machine maintenance, education and training licensing. Any questions from any legislators?
No, just the new legislators, if you haven't seen it already, you're going to be constantly approving, adjusting the state aid levels. Get used to it. It'll happen again once the state budget's adopted, if it's around April 1st, so you'll be doing this all year.
Any questions from the public? Okay, I make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, the approval of fund transfer 26T023, Department of Social Services, Mental Health and Youth Bureau, provide to pay differential Director of Eligibility position. This was also reviewed in personnel. This was from Commissioner of Finance Kristen Werner. The total was $19,281. Any questions on this?
I think it was 19,000.
Where?
Might be a
Did I,
different number.
oh, I went to,
You
yep,
went to
I did,
six.
did I jump? I did, it got stuck, I apologize. I'm so sorry. $2,527 and, zero fiscal impact. I apologize, it jumped. Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, need the glasses.
you.
I don't hear you.
Agenda item 6, approval for signature, a fund transfer 26T037, move Code Blue funds to contracts. This was reviewed in health, and this is for $19,281. Code Blue is for warming shelters. Does any legislators have any questions? None? Okay, any of the public? Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agenda item 7 is approval fund transfer 26T039, Department of General Services, Fund Vehicle GPS System, also reviewed in physical. This is in no fiscal impact for 26 or 27, and it's in the amount of $120,000. It's to fund vehicle GPS system for county vehicles as per the attached correspondence, which was reviewed in committee. Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? I make a motion to move this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item 8, approval for signature is a fund transfer 26T040, Bureau of Emergency Services. Replace 2 screens on the 911 center dispatch wall. This was also reviewed in protective. This will be in the amount of $12,600. Does anybody have any questions, any legislators? Anyone from the public? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 9. A fund transfer 26T043 Sheriff correct clerical error to appropriate budget line was reviewed in protective. This is in the amount of $20,000. It was a clerical error, and we're just correcting the books. No fiscal impact. Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from any public? I'm going to make a motion for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have agenda item 10, approval for fund transfer 26T044, sheriff allocation position from BCI to civil division, also reviewed in personnel. This is in the zero fiscal impact. I guess they're transferring a member from BCI division to the civil division. If anybody has any questions. Legislators, none? Okay. Public? No? Okay. I'm going to ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 10, or 11 is the approval of fund transfer 26T045, Department of Public Works reclassification from senior account clerk to principal account clerk. We reviewed this in personnel. This is in the amount of $68,876, zero fiscal impact. We're changing a title to a reclassification. Is that correct, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Any legislators? Anybody from the public? Going to make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 12, approval for signature. This is a fund transfer, 26T046, Bureau of Emergency Services, audio visual equipment at 911 Backup Center, also reviewed and protective. This is in the amount of $11,100. We spoke about this, the last protective, audio visual equipment. Do we have any questions from any legislators?
Just that the fiscal impact is not listed on this one. Is this a zero fiscal?
It's zero, it should have been
Zero.
zero in there.
This is zero fiscal
Yes.
impact?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions from the public? Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 13, approval for signatures of fund transfer 26T053, sheriff reallocate seized assets, also reviewed in protective. This is zero fiscal impact, and it comes out to $20,000. Do we have any questions from any legislators? Anybody from the public? I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 14, approval, fund transfer 26T055, sheriff reclassification from senior office assistant to principal office assistant. This was also reviewed in personnel. There is a fiscal impact on this of $9,290. This is a job reallocation from senior office assistant to principal office assistant, approved by the Personnel Department. Do we have any questions from any legislators? Anyone from the public? I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 15, approval for signature, fund transfer 26T058, Board of Elections, purchase 10 air ballot printers prior to June primary. We have a letter of necessity here that was sent on March 13th. Due to necessary poll site reconfigurations, we need to purchase 10 new air ballot printers. These printers are needed for the June 23rd, 2026 primary election. We wish to expedite this budget transfer and place the order. Do we have any questions from any legislators? I know we have both commissioners here. Would you like to speak on it?
Do you need us to?
I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I just want to, if you needed to say anything with Commissioner Croft and Primavera.
We came a little late to the table, but we do need this so that we can get these in place and tested and everything before the June primary, so.
We have to do it this month.
Yep, and we appreciate also that you guys had to move things around to make it more accessible for the public, so thank you for that, and thank you for being expeditious with this. So any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? I'm going to make, oh, sorry.
Fiscal impact.
Yep, zero fiscal impact, yes, in the amount of $15,380. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 16, approval of local law to amend Chapter 41 of the Code of Putnam County entitled Deposit and Investment Policy.
Putnam County Savings Bank became Beacon Bank,
Thanks for coming
and
out.
we're just acknowledging that. For years, I tried to find a way to put in here, if a bank changes its name or something, this would automatically change, but couldn't be done.
And they're always,
So we have to do it each time the bank changes.
Okay.
There's been a lot less than the old days.
Well, I appreciate that. Do we have any questions from any legislators? Oh,
Um,
sure.
whoever you want to call first. Yeah, through the chair. Bill, of course, yeah, thanks for doing that. They do change a lot, I know. As a tangent, I know we adopt this every year with, at our reorg or periodically, and we have the maximum amounts there. How difficult would it be, and I don't want to cause more work for your department, but would it be possible to at least maybe get a monthly or quarterly report on where our money is at the end of a quarter or at the end of a
Oh, yeah,
month?
we do the investment and deposit report.
Oh, do we get that quarterly?
Every quarter.
Oh, we do, okay, good.
And I'm incorporating most of the changes you suggested. I
Okay.
don't think you need the CD.
Not the individual, no, well,
No, but
Yeah.
we're scheduling the investments like that.
okay,
From the memo you sent a couple of months ago, we're incorporating, some of those suggestions were good. We're doing it, and that's going to be in that
Only
quarterly
some?
report.
Only some?
That's it?
only some?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think you need the CD breakage.
No, of course.
penalties
Well,
that you put in there.
no,
Only if you're going to break them.
well, yeah, I mean, that might be, because I know, if I could just continue through the chair, one of the discussions we had prior to you coming back on with your department was, okay, if we're looking to return some of the fund balance back through our budget process and lowering the tax, not only the tax rate, but the actual tax levy, the prior head of your department said that might involve some breakage, because obviously if we have a one-year CD or whatever it is, we're allowed to have those, of course. But if we're going to be making decision to return fund balance back to the taxpayers, we probably want to know in advance whether that might have a ramification that if we want to return, I'm making this number up completely, don't have a heart attack. If we want to return $70 million back to the taxpayers, and that involves invading 16 CDs, and it will actually cost us $200,000 to
Right.
break those, I think we would want to know that. So
Right, I think you'd want to know it
Yeah.
at that time.
Well-
But we can do that.
prior to, actually, because that would help us be anticipatory.
All right, then.
If you could include that, that would be helpful, because, again, don't have a heart attack.
The problem is,
Yeah.
if you're going to break a CD, at that time it gets negotiated.
Right,
There's nothing up front that says what the breakage, because you don't contemplate
No.
breaking a CD when you get it.
you don't.
But
You-
our CDs, like, say you wanted to break one because of that reason.
Right.
Then we'd have to go to the bank and say, okay, we want to break the CD, and then we'd have to go back and forth as to what it would cost.
Right, but it would be no more than what's contractually in the agreement, so that would be the not-to-exceed amount.
Right.
So that, I think, is still helpful information for us as policymakers to, and again, this was a discussion, and the only reason I requested that in my memo a few months ago, or last month, was because it had come up in a previous discussion. So I think, and I don't think there's any appetite necessarily to do that, but at least it might give us some.
I'll have to put all the money out long-term, so you can.
Actually, or it'll cost us an arm and a leg to do it. Well, that's exactly it. No, I mean, you've
No,
proved my point.
I get what you're
But
saying.
yeah, if you could include that, I'm sorry to go off topic, but if you could include that information as well, it would be helpful.
Right.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
I'll add another page. I think that would be better presented on that page, because the
Sure.
way it looks now.
Yeah, however-
It's not an easy way to present.
However you want to present it, of course, but thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Legislator Russo?
Thank you. I just want to say, I think it's a little bizarre that we would try to return money to taxpayers but lose money in the interim to do that. So to find out how much it would cost us to break a CD to return it to taxpayers, but we would lose money, kind of
Well, we wouldn't.
doesn't sit right.
If I could, hopefully the amount that we return would be much, much larger than any nominal breakage fee. Usually the breakage fees are in the single-digit percentage-wise, but it could be a real number if it's a large amount. But if we're, and again, no heart attack, Bill, if we're returning $75 million to the taxpayers, the breakage fee would be minuscule compared to that.
But
And-
you're veering into
Yeah, we're getting a
budget
little off
questions.
topic.
Yes, I know, I am.
You know, that's an interim position, right there. Bill's it.
Well, I know.
You want to move over.
But he will be a permanent taxpayer, I hope, so I'm appealing to his taxpayer side,
Your
you know?
opinion.
You were right about that.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the diversion, thank you.
Legislator Reagan.
Inquiry withdrawn.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second on this?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 17, approval directing prospective cancellation of taxes on certain parcels, correcting superseding resolution number 45 of 2026. This was, Trish, you want to come on up? Trish McLaughlin is the director of property tax, yep. I know,
I did not know
and
this one was, I didn't know this one
obviously,
was gonna be today.
yeah,
I thought
so
they pushed it
we're,
to next month.
nope, it's, so we can only give a little bit on this, obviously, but,
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one's fine.
okay.
17 is a clerical error.
Okay.
A 1 was in there when it shouldn't have been. So we're correcting the tax map.
Okay, so it's just bookkeeping.
That's all.
Yep,
17.
okay,
Yeah, that's not,
I was gonna say.
no.
I didn't think
You
of it,
started
but
at
I'm
18. You're 18.
okay. Do we have any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? Okay, I'm gonna ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
18, and Trish, you're up.
Basically, we get tax roll corrections on an almost daily basis. So they're rolling through our office constantly, because an assessor will find something, this particular assessor found something, the prior assessor did, so it's just an ongoing thing. So we're going to try to come monthly and try to make some kind of a system out of this. But, so we had a couple this time. This one is a sewage usage miscalculation by the assessor, the former assessor. So it was a correction made to the bill. So corrections to the bill get done on a 554, an RP 554. So it tells you what they were billed, and then it'll tell you what they should have been billed. And then you gotta do the 556, which tells you the refund amount. And in some cases, if they haven't paid their taxes yet, there's no refund amount, it just will be credited towards what they owe. So, this first one, we are doing 18.
Yes.
Looks like they did pay a portion, but it wasn't the full amount, and the taxpayer still owes $1170, because the bill was corrected, and the correction amount is $5,055. So it does exceed the $2,500 limit that we're trying to get the auditor to be able to sign off on in place of the county ledge. So, in any event, it was even though they still owe, we still have to put it through. So it's just a correction.
Okay, so it's in the amount of $2,500?
No,
No.
Oh, that's a correction, isn't it?
no, the
18?
correction, the actual correction is $5,055.
Oh, right, I'm sorry, I was looking at the front page. I
The
apologize.
original bill was one thing, corrected bill is another. What they actually paid was
Yep.
another. This one was a little tricky.
Okay. All right, so do any legislators have any questions? Public have any questions? Gonna move for this to be approved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 19 is the approval of real property taxes, Town of Kent, tax map number 33.14-1-7.
Okay, so this one was a veterans exemption situation, so there was a billed amount was incorrect, they corrected the bill, and the refund, they made a payment, and then there's a refund amount with a small amount of $432.
Okay, any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? Gonna make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 20, approval correction of real property taxes, Town of Carmel tax map, number 87.6-2-41.
Okay, so this, anybody know?
Revised.
Revised of it, yes. So we have to make a motion to accept the revised.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Trish?
So this correction affected two entities, the county of Putnam and also the town of Carmel. So we broke it down to where you can see the amount was billed on both, the corrected bill amount, any amount that was already paid, and what they've got left to owe. What they need refunded. So we break it down in the box. There's a little memo explaining each one, and they got the 554 and the 556. And this one, I believe, was the bar had Board of Assessment Review. The homeowner went there, they had their assessment reduced, and it just didn't get in the system. So somebody caught it, and now they have a smaller tax bill because of that, so that correction was made.
Okay, any questions from any of the legislators? Legislator Sage?
A process question. Is this a check that's cut from the county, or is it go down to the county?
So, no, it's the county,
county.
because what happens is, at this point, right now, we're like right on the border of the warrants being up, so I think it's March 30th or April 1. So, by the time this gets seen in front of the whole county legislature, it'll be, what, the 7th, I think?
Yes.
So that's when it gets approved, and so it'll be beyond that date. So on April 1, Mike Dean will be making the school, the county town in this place, in the townships whole. So I had a long discussion with him on the process, and so now he will be paying them, and now the refund will now have to come out of the county, and then they'll have to charge back. So it's unfortunate that we just missed it.
charged back to town for their respective share.
Yeah. So right now, we are gonna have to, county's gonna have to pay the refund, and then they'll charge back to the town, because we made them whole, literally, it'll be in tomorrow,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Any other legislators? Anybody from the public? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
This is agenda item 21, approval of local law to amend Article 5 of Chapter 220 of the Code of Putnam County to, 1, clarify application of real property tax law, Section 467, and 2, increase the maximum senior citizen property tax exemption.
So many of you know that the senior, we did a resolution number 38, and that approved the going up to 65% savings there, tax, on their senior tax bill. And some of my assessors reached out to me and they said, Trish, the sliding scale really should be part of the resolution, because that's what we're using when we're going into RPS. We're checking this, making sure we've got everything right, and there's no sliding scale. So we just quick shifted some things, said, let's get this in today. That was why the letter of necessity was put through to get this in, because they're doing tentative roll literally in the next week. So they need to be making all of these, because the county did adopt it, so they've got to make those county adjustments. I think only one town did, Kent, but they'll have special codes now that are needed in RPS, and they wanted to make sure they've got the county's numbers on the resolution, and we felt it was important to say in the resolution that it's effective of March 1st, 26, because, most are going to be doing it next year.
Okay. Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 22 is the approval of support for, thank you. Thanks, Trish. Approval of support for home rule legislation authorizing the County of Putnam to alienate certain lands used as parklands. This is a resolution that came through from Chairman Birmingham and Tom Lannon. You want to speak to this? Come on up.
Yeah, I can give a little background too, in addition to what I'm sure, Tom, if I could, through the chair. Sure, yeah, what this is, we passed something either last year or this year, earlier, probably last year. It's with respect to a cell phone, or a cell tower by the golf course. And we sent a home rule message up to the state legislature, and it's, if you might recall, it's a two-step process. We first have to ask them to do it,
Backwards.
then they come back. Well, no, we did it in the right order. We sent them a resolution asking them for this ability to do this, and if, once we send that, they then come back to us with a bill number. And once we get the bill number, then we specifically reference the bill number in the resolution, which we have before us tonight. And we didn't get that, we didn't know about the bill number until recently. And certainly, we're heading towards the end of session, so we want to try and get this under the wire. Just for some background, I'm sure technically, Tom has some more important technical information than I do.
That was very good.
Oh, thank you.
Commissioner Lennon?
First, I'd like to thank you for addressing our letter of necessity to bring it to this committee. I do appreciate that. And strategically correct. I do want to point out it's an emergency services tower. Yes, it will have cell service on it, but we need this. It's critical for our radio system. We have a lot of areas within Carmel that right now will really benefit from having this tower in place, so it was important to us. And last year, you did approve the home rule, but the New York State Legislature was not able to get it through. So since it didn't go through, it had to be readdressed this year, which it was. And then fortunately for us, the Home Rule Council for the Assembly reviewed it and said, you're missing the home rule, it expired from last year, so you need to do a new home rule for this year. And I really want to thank Diane for helping with this. Her staff and you just were instrumental in getting me the information I needed so that we could move this forward. I really thank you for that. So the tower is located on Airport Park. It's up at the top of Airport Park. It's 160 foot. We have all the plans. You already signed a lease agreement to move forward with the tower company to put it in place. And this is the alienation that is required because that is parkland. I'd also like to point out that it had two restrictions on it. The first one was New York City had right of first refusal, and we were able to negotiate that, and we do have their right of first refusal. So they said, go ahead. That took about 2 years of negotiating with them to get to that point. But we have that, so this is really the last hurdle. Once we have this, we can go ahead and start construction on the tower.
Okay, great, thank you. And we appreciate your due diligence on this, and you know how I feel about the radio project, so we're just gonna leave that there. Any questions from any other legislators? Any questions from the public? Legislator Sage?
I'm just looking at the letter of necessity has bill number 8903,
Yes.
and the resolution
Assembly.
has 8852. So I'm not
That's
sure,
the
is this
old
the
one.
correct? 8903 is the, looks like it's the correct one, but the resolution has a different Senate and Assembly bill number. Should that be changed? Or is this just?
Where do you see
That
the,
it's different than the,
Second to last result, it says, Assembly Bill number A08852 and Senate Bill
Yeah, they usually should be.
8852. And the letter of necessity and the letter from Assembly legislators. say-
one is for the Senate, I believe?
yeah, but
But
they're both different.
I can look it up if you want.
Assembly and
the assemblies don't match.
and the Senate should be the same bill number, one's an S and one's an A.
No, they'd be different.
And it'd be different.
Right.
I think the number is one number. might be-
It's only, it's gotta be, it's 8907, if you take a look at the photocopy, 8903, I should say, is the assembly bill.
Shouldn't it be a matching bill number, though, to the assembly and bill?
On the result, it says Assembly 8852.
That would be two different numbers.
It might be the,
Yeah.
it might be the
Same
Senate
number
bill,
there.
but the assembly.
Assembly bill, yes.
They're two different numbers.
Neither is,
I might be able to find it. I'm not that fast.
Do we possess the opportunity to amend the resolution tonight to
Yes.
correct the error?
It's this,
Assembly bill.
yep. I got the legislative scam thing going on here.
The Barracuda
It is-
itself
it
right
is-
here.
They're,
It is
are they both matching?
8852, and same as, oh, no,
They're
no, no.
matching bill numbers, I believe,
I
like
think,
I said.
I think they are matching.
No, it's, the assembly bill, I'm on the site now. If I could through the chair,
I think they're matching.
is Assembly Bill
Oh, that.
8903, And the
that's the
Senate
old
bill is
one.
8852.
Huh, okay, so it's, so then it is not reflected correctly on the reso then?
Yeah, we just have to, one of them
Just
is
change that
correct.
one, the assembly bill number.
I
Yeah, let me show you.
see different. The original one was it's the same as 809, that was last year's
So, you know,
bill.
well, same as just means the same as the Senate bill number is 8852.
I don't think this
Assembly
is-
bill is 8903.
No,
No, they're matching.
I think
Should
that's
be
last
matching.
year's.
They should be matching.
Yeah,
Oh, good idea.
Well, you know, we're in the
Hang
same
on.
session, so there is no
I
last
think-
year bill, it's the same bill.
I think,
25 and 26. So
I think you're right. You're right, as usual. 8903 is the
Assembly.
Senate bill.
Assembly,
assembly.
No,
No,
yes, Assembly's 889, the Assembly bill is A8903, the Senate bill is S8852.
I'm staying out of it.
Yes,
yes.
he's correct.
Yes, he is correct.
Just keep saying it,
Okay.
just let it sink in, just keep saying it.
Why fight it?
Why fight it?
The backup from
Chairman
Google
Monahan,
Calendar
you are
says
correct.
8903. You better
I'll
use
put it in
that
writing.
number.
Okay,
Better use the number that Legislative Council said.
Can we amend this language tonight to have it reflect the Assembly Bill number,
I have one for
yeah,
details.
Assembly Bill number 8903?
does someone make a motion to?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion to amend the Assembly Bill from Assembly Bill number A08852 to A8903.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm so stressed.
Okay. Now, do any other legislators have any other questions on this? Anybody from the public have any questions on this? Gonna make a motion to approve the amended version of Agenda Item 22 to reflect the correct assembly number, bill number. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Agenda item 24 is a discussion and approval for opposition to electric bus mandate requested by legislator Gouldman.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank the Audit Committee for bringing this up on the agenda. The residents of Putnam County and throughout the Hudson Valley are facing a serious affordability crisis, one that is causing families to make hard choices on which bill to pay and or to put food on the table. The mandate will start in 2027, which is 8 to 9 months from right now, requiring all new school buses purchased in New York State to be electric full conversion by 2035, and will be paid for by local taxpayers. And this is really unrealistic, unaffordable, and doesn't make any sense. We don't have to abandon clean energy, but we have to do it in a manner that makes sense, in the time frame that is realistic. The initial investment of these school buses is higher than a traditional diesel model school bus. Putnam County does not have the required infrastructure as far as charging stations to support this mandate. In addition, Putnam County's cold and its cold weather here are not conducive to the longevity of the batteries of electric vehicles, which will be parked in the municipal lot and exposed to the elements of outside. New York State has passed this mandate without supplying the necessary funding to create the infrastructure necessary for safety, implement, and the protocol of countywide charging stations. Heated gas garages with charging stations and battery surplus storage in the event of battery failure. We must do what we can to make our communities affordable and safe. As of today, the school districts of Putnam Valley, Carmel, and Mayapack are against this. And I am sure within the next week or two, other school districts will be joining in. Simply put, if this goes into effect, school taxes will go up, and none of us can afford this. I hope this passes out of committee and then goes to the full legislative meeting on April 7th to pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Goldman, I appreciate that. I agree with your sentiments on this. I know that we don't have the infrastructure right now, and it's very costly to the school districts, and people are struggling as is right now. So I strongly support this. Do we have any other legislators that would like to comment on this? Legislator D'Angelo?
Yeah, Legislator Goldman, I'd like to thank you for bringing this to the floor, and I do hope this moves out of the committee this evening. I'll certainly be voting yes at the full on this. I mean, beyond the infrastructure being non-existent for this mandate to take place, this is just another unfunded mandate that's coming down from Albany, and I'll call it what it is. I think it's left-wing nonsense. The cost of living is absolutely out of control right now, and to force taxpayers to, foot the bill of virtue signaling in Albany is just ridiculous. So anything we could do as a local government to try and prevent that from coming down here, I'm in support of. So thank you, Legislator Goldman.
Thank you. Do we have any other legislators that would like to comment? Legislator Russo?
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Legislator Goldman. I understand that we want to go to a zero emission way in the future. I don't think anybody, state, county, federal, or towns, has the capability of doing this now. I know we're all struggling with electric bills, and every night I drive home and I park my car, I thank God I don't have to plug it in after looking at my NICEAG bill. So I know the schools will have to get, everything set up and do this, but we also don't have the infrastructure and our roads and our bridges. We could barely get funds from New York State to cover some of the roads that need repair. And the weight of these buses, I think, will cause a bigger issue. So although I agree going, zero emission in the future, I don't think it's now. So I support your resolution. Thank you.
Any other legislators? Legislator Montgomery?
Thank you. I sent you all a memo and an alternate resolution, but before that, we obviously are discussing Legislator Goldman's resolution, and I want to make sure that we're looking at the full picture, just comments stemming from comments that have just been made. If it's left-wing ridiculousness coming out of Albany, and we have to look at this way into the future, the fact is that we've been looking at this since the early 70s, and it's Republican legislatures that have been denying it. Therefore, we do not have the infrastructure that we need for this mandate now. So that's a fact. And now here we are. I sat here in 2019, and I heard the exact words: we don't have the infrastructure. Therefore, we don't buy electric vehicles in this county since 2019 because we don't have the infrastructure. So the resolution clearly highlights many risks, but unfunded mandates, the resolution leaves out that significant state and federal funding have in fact been available to help cover both buses and infrastructure. You were here when we just denied accessing that funding. So unfunded mandate is not exactly accurate. There have been significant funding. Other districts have accessed that funding. So we should be asking ourselves why we haven't, or how can we access that funding instead of just saying no. Funding opportunities have been available for years. Many of you attended NICEAG just last week, I think. And if you were at the climate meeting that they had and the resolution that they passed there, they weren't saying no to this mandate at NICEAG. Their resolution said the Municipal Zone Emission Vehicle Rebate Program, which has been available to us since 2016, provides solutions to this crisis. You know, it is. It's a crisis. It's a very expensive mandate. But even NISAC's resolution provides solution, calling on New York State to increase funding, to support regional coordination, and to help local governments implement cost-effective transitions. So the ZEV funding, which has been available, is one thing. Programs we've also left on the table. Since 2022, the EPA had the Clean School Bus Program, where they gave billions nationwide, and New York State districts did receive those awards. We did not. The NYSERDA Electric School Bus Incentive Program covers a large portion of buses and charging stations and infrastructure investments, and the Jobs Act includes EV infrastructure and grid upgrades. So for years, this county has been very hesitant to engage in climate and fleet transition planning. And we've left that money on the table. But now, finally, we actually have a wonderful climate smart coordinator and a commissioner who puts planning in place and the capacity in place to help us access those things that we've left for over a decade. So, yeah, this resolution outlines very real concerns, but a lot of what it does, it omits a lot of facts and isn't supported at all by any data on reliability, pointed out in the resolution. Every vehicle can fail. Diesel buses break down too. The issue is how our system is managed and how we do that across our own fleet. Children could be stranded. That really plays at my heartstrings. It's a great emotional line. They could be stranded in any vehicle. I'd like to see the data that shows the electric buses fail more frequently than diesel buses. Or are we relying on right-wing lobbyists that own newspapers that print
Okay.
those articles? I'm not done. I still have the floor. These things happen on all buses. And in addition, being stranded, whether it's a diesel bus, an electric bus, a train, or a collapsed building, this is one thing Putnam County is ahead of the curve on. The Sheriff's Department had the foresight for this, and we not just 4 months ago allocated $100,000 for a transport vehicle for situations just like being stranded. So I don't see anyone getting stranded for hours, as this resolution said. And cold weather does affect all vehicles, diesels included. The difference is electric bus technology already accounts for this. So states and countries colder than ours, I used to have to plug in my diesel car, by the way, outside of the garage, and it affects diesel engines too, the cold. So Minnesota, Canada, they're already operating with electric school buses very successfully. So the valid considerations in this resolution apply to all vehicles. Here in Putnam, we've just launched the Climate Smart Resiliency work. We are in the middle of gathering data, identifying needs, and evaluating options. So to take a hard position now and absolutely no position to the New York State Legislature, who's going to look at a resolution like this, instead of providing a solution, like have we talked to state legislators and to see what they're doing? I have talked to state legislators. They're actively working on solutions, including state-supported bus purchases, infrastructure funding, regional approaches, and addressing utility delays. So I would just say this, it would be irresponsible for us to just close the door before we even fully explored solutions. I don't see that there are any solutions in this resolution, sending a piece of paper up to Albany to the New York State Legislature, and we kind of all know how they are. You know, much like we were back in 2019 and 2022, but we've come a long way to find the solutions to mitigate these problems. It's not going to go away. The electric school bus mandate is not just going to go away. So rather than saying no, I suggest we take a balanced approach by offering solutions which are in the alternative resolution that we can combine with Legislator Goldman's or I know you're not listening, Chairwoman, but
I am listening, I'm reading something.
So
Have some decorum, please.
I do have
Thank you.
decorum.
I was reading something.
Well, I was reading something too.
Legislator Regan.
To the chair,
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery said that other legislatures had mentioned left-wing propaganda, and I sat here and I did not hear either one of these two gentlemen say the word left-wing. I did. There you go.
Guys, you're the committee, guys,
Yes,
listen.
I was listening to you, Jake, sorry.
So we're reading.
I definitely said that, yeah.
I was reading at the end of yours. I did hear it.
Thanks though, Tommy.
I do have a question.
Legislator D'Angelo.
Through the chair, I know you mentioned there were
We're not,
grant programs available in the past. I mean, how much money was made available? Because how much of the money then would we still have had to foot of this bill? I guess my greater point is that I don't see this to be necessary, this mandate whatsoever, and while grant programs may have been available, if there was still going to be an additional tax burden on taxpayers here, I don't see why we shouldn't oppose this.
So you're just saying no to electric vehicles, period? Like, we shouldn't invest in our $74 million fund balance? We
through the
shouldn't
chair, please.
be accountable for any of it?
Legislator
It'd be nice
Montgomery.
to have a dialogue so we.
No, I think it's fine.
Crosstalk.
It's-
I think at this juncture,
It's not an AA meeting.
I think at this juncture in time, if you mentioned that
Okay.
we've closed the door on those grant opportunities, at this point, I mean, you oppose it then, if we're still going to be unfunded theoretically. And you mentioned past grant opportunities. Are there still granting opportunities available? I mean, is.
This is,
We have-
if I may, through the chair, I mean, this is helpful dialogue. This is how we deliberate. It's a committee meeting, not a full ledge
I
meeting.
understand, but you're not the chair of this meeting, so
I
thank you.
get it. We don't want to be effective here, so
Okay, so we do have
I
electrical
appreciate the
vehicles
dialogue,
that,
though, and I can get you those figures.
All right.
we do have electric vehicles that have been dispersed through Senator Harkam, I believe, to many of our police departments that are being used right now. I think the same grant was used to install the charging stations at many of our town halls. I know Kent has them, Carmel has them, I'm not sure if the sheriff's department has them, but we do use electric vehicles, we have gotten grants, and we are seeing it. Right now, we have a resolution on the table. We've discussed it. Do we have any other legislators that would like to speak on it? Anybody from the audience that would like to speak? Mr. Oliverio, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Please state your name and where you're from.
Fellow legislators, boy, I'm going back in time, and legislators. You're absolutely right. There is many of the towns installing charging stations for these electric vehicles. We're not talking about a car. We're talking about a bus that carries children, a bus that costs $475,000 compared to a hybrid that's $225,000, or a gas-powered at $185,000. I'm a member of the school board at Putnam Valley, trustee. We sent one of those letters to Albany saying, rethink this, rethink this. What is this really about? These buses are not going to change the climate one iota until countries like Pakistan, India, China, countries in Africa stop burning coal and oil. We can be the cleanest nation in the world. It's not going to help this planet until we stop the mass deforestation of the Amazon, knocking down all those trees and breeding animals that put methane and everything else into the air. It's not going to, this stupid mandate is not going to cure anything. It's the dumbest unfunded mandate to ever come out of Albany. It makes no sense. A heat wave of 3 or 4 days at 90 degrees or above will burst these batteries. That's been proven, that's a fact. A cold wave, more than 3 or 4 days, 20 degrees or below, will pull 40% of the energy out of these batteries before they even start. God forbid, a day after a blizzard, the roads are clear and you're driving, and that bus stalls. We're talking kids here. We're not talking a car. We're talking a bus that brings the most precious commodity of our citizens, their children, from one place to another, and you want that as safe as possible. we're not even talking about the cost of the infrastructure, those charging stations that every district would have to put in. People are being killed by the school taxes as we speak. They're being decimated of ever-increasing school tax. We're going to add more. And as far as grants or anything else, it's minuscule. I'm sorry, Legislator Montgomery, but it's minuscule, and I
Can you
know that
tell
for a
us what
fact.
they are?
We have gone and applied, and the cost, we're still paying double for what we would with a regular bus. It's insane. This mandate should have never happened. Leave the cars to be EVs. You want to go that direction, fine. Keep the buses out of that mix. This is a bad idea, a dangerous idea, a costly idea. It is an idea that comes from God knows where, and whose mentality is thinking it up. We don't need another unfunded mandate, and it is unfunded. There's not much money coming. I know that for a fact. I have seen the work through the school board. That's why Putnam Valley sent the letter to Albany, asking them to rethink this, hold off on the deadline, rethink it. We like hybrid. We just bought 3 hybrid vans. That's the way to go. Don't only rely on the battery. Rely on a gas engine. That's not going to conk out on you in hot weather or cold weather. And the battery is there to add extra mileage and a green overtone to the transportation. That's the way to go. Don't force the strictly EV buses down the people's throat. It is bad news. And Bill, thank you for writing this. I fully support it, and I hope this legislature unanimously send this message to Albany. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. We appreciate you coming here from Putnam Valley. Legislator Sage.
Yeah, a previous legislator, Oliveri, reminded me of a Patents for Progress breakfast that I attended, and they talked about these mandates coming down from the state of New York and how devastating it would be for our municipalities as well as our businesses. And even if the state of New York went to zero emissions, it would have zero impact on climate change. And as you mentioned, it's up to the countries who are using the most oil and coal, and like China and India. The state of New York isn't going to put a drop in the bucket as far as keeping emissions and having anything to do with climate change, but it will have a massive impact on our school districts, on our municipalities, and of businesses. So I'm absolutely in favor of this resolution.
Legislator Regan. Thank you, Legislator Sage.
Thank you,
Legislator Regan.
Chairman. I just have to recognize here that we have 2 different resolutions, both of us sending our wishes to Albany, which you talk about
Unaccepted additional.
either one. We're putting our wishes, we're thinking that what our inclinations are, one way or the other, are going to sway Albany. I appreciate sentiments on both sides, understanding there's facts and figures on both sides. I think we should not elongate the meeting too much more tonight, thinking that whatever we send to Albany is going to be paid any attention, sadly.
I would like to just say that I think it's important that we do weigh in on this, as we represent a certain, amount of constituents. And, I know that I will be in favor of Legislator Gouldman's resolution tonight, and I do think that we should be sending everything to Albany, because they need to understand, as we represent certain people, they represent them too. We need to let our assembly members know, our Senate members know, and continue to be a voice, because the minute that we stop is the minute that we get run over. So we need to continue to speak out and continue to talk and have discussion. So I'm going to be in favor of this tonight. Legislator D'Angelo?
Yeah, Legislator Regan, I would say, I understand your sentiment. Albany doesn't tend to listen much, but we're here to represent our constituency and fight for them. And at a figure like $485,000 a bus, this is going to probably bankrupt school districts and force their hand to fill such a deficit. We're going to tax people out of their homes as if they aren't already being taxed out of their homes. So, yeah, okay, maybe this goes nowhere, but you go down fighting, right? That's what you have to do. This is nonsense. This is going to really, really hurt Putnam County. So this is something we have to support.
Legislator Montgomery?
Yeah, again, we have been ignoring this issue, and that's why it's at the point now and so expensive. I think this year alone, there was $180 $810 million invested in it, and I'll get all the other figures. But I wanted to end with, obviously, it sounds like you're not even going to consider the additional, and we're not going to have a discussion, but we'll see. We'll see leading up to that. I think what I've learned on this legislature, being in the minority, is to, sometimes go down fighting, but often offer solutions. So, with that, I will tell you that the state leaders are working on solutions, and I offered a resolution that recognizes all of the things that Legislator Goldman said in his resolution, but in addition, supported the solutions like working on help school districts meet targets. This is a message I received from a state legislator specifically, and they recognize the severity of this and are working on it. The legislation is not finalized, so they're working on legislation. We could support that, but we are looking at possibly the state outright purchasing vehicles for districts. These are things that they're considering for their legislation. A revolving loan fund for infrastructure and vehicles, regionalization, bulk purchasing savings, and other grants. They've been talking to school districts and listening to their concern, roadblocks, so they can hopefully be addressed. And another really critical issue is, to the infrastructure point, is the delay on the part of the utility companies, Central Hudson and NYSEG, mostly in Putnam. So this is an issue. They pushed for Con Ed rate and joint proposals to include incentives for Con Ed to speedily complete capacity upgrades for electric transportation and building upgrades. So my point is, again, I feel like this resolution, not for anything, could be a little stronger, and it could offer solutions. And that's what I'm offering.
Thank you, Legislator Montgomery. Legislator D'Angelo?
Yeah, I mean, the only solution to something this stupid is for Albany to completely kill this bill. I mean, why are we, we're rolling over, we're just gonna say, oh, Albany's passing it down, so let's fight to see if we can save a couple cents on millions and millions of dollars that it'll cost. It's nonsense. We should send that right back up to Albany. They need to kill the bill. That's the only solution to something so stupid.
Well, I don't believe that it's stupid. Decades have gone into the research and why these things are
Maybe that's your
necessary.
opinion, and
We're gonna call the question.
You're allowed that.
I'm gonna make, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'd like to call on members of the audience.
Yeah.
Go right up to the podium. I'm sorry, we did a round robin before,
Sure.
and I apologize.
Sorry I'm late.
No, I'm sorry.
My name's Chris Harrigan, I live in Carmel, a member of the Mahopac School Board. I just wanted to put out, I can get you the facts and figures. New York State did some EB studies around the state, local districts. They did one in Yorktown. I could probably get a copy of that study I don't know where we are in the process here with the county, but if you'd like to see, they went like what the cost would be. So I think again, don't quote me, it's like $30 to $40 million was the quote for like the startup for Yorktown to get this off the ground, which is a lot of money. And Yorktown is, I guess, similar in size to what Mahopac Central School District is. So I can get you more facts and things like that, but, and I can get you facts on how much a regular school bus costs and an EV school bus, but.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there, so.
We appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Any other, yes, come to the podium, state your name, where you're from. We have a diverse group tonight, from all over.
Excuse me, Scott Seaman, Town of Southeast. I'm from the Brewster Board of Education, though I am not here to speak for the Brewster Board of Education. Just to get some information based upon what people have been pointing it out. You have to do studies as part of your asking for the extension. Now, for Brewster, it's roughly $36 million with the state incentives. I thought Carmel came in around 38, and I would guess Mahopac would come in, around 38 million. That's for the whole nut. That's for your infrastructure and your buses. Your average bus, let's say a regular bus is 175, electric buses at a minimum 350. Other items that you have to take into account is, Assemblyman Slater's office had pointed out, they're much heavier, these buses, so they're not really built for the local roads. They're probably 2 to 3 times heavier. so they're more wear and tear on our roads, and a lot of our curbing and stuff on the roads are not designed to stop buses of these sizes. So that's just items. It's not that nobody doesn't want this. It is the best thing for our students to get them out of gas buses and fuming buses into electric buses. Fine. It's all on the timeline. To think we can replace, in New York State, 700-plus school districts, roughly 10,000 school buses, that's $3.5 billion just to buy buses. So it's an idea, but we just need to ask. So if I would ask, if you would, instead of just saying no, force them to gather the data, put together with NYSERDA, other districts, the other items that's been coming up. There are a number of school districts upstate that have electric buses and they work. And there's a number of them that they don't. So, I mean, there's no cut and dry just to say it doesn't work. It does, but to what point? We also have to take into account, we want to give the data to the legislators so they can vaguely. If we just all sit around and say no, they're not really gonna listen because we're not giving them an alternative. We have to either show them why we think it's good or why we think it's bad. And we can also gather data for you. Once again, any things, if it goes through the chair, through our president of our school board meeting, we can gather data. But I would just ask you to take everything into consideration so that we can give them the information why we think it's no. That's all I would ask.
I think that's wonderful, Beth.
Thank you.
I think that maybe we could send a memo out to each of their superintendents and their boards of each of the school districts in Putnam to see if we can gather some data on this. And at this point, I'm going to call the question, but I do think, oh, sorry, Cassandra, come right up.
Cassandra, how much are electric, like SUVs or like pickup trucks? I know we talked about that a little bit.
Escalade Hybrid is $178,000.
The reason why I ask that is because we're talking electric and all these vehicles and things like that, and funded mandates, unfunded mandates are really stupid, right? We've heard about a soil and water truck, which is part of why we asked for an audit. It was tabled before I got here that we have no VIN number for, we have no backup for. New York State, it was reported to that our district purchased it with district money, and I've asked repeatedly, it can't get answers. So, you know, I'd like to talk about it separately, but it was yanked off, and I think that's beyond
So I was told-
frustrating, because the words that I never used were malfeasance, I didn't even use misfeasance, I didn't use intentional, I didn't use politically motivated. That came from this
This has
meeting
nothing to
tonight.
do with this agenda item right now.
Well, it did, because it was electric buses and the value.
I understand that, but
and
this has nothing to do with this
funding
agenda
unfunded
item.
mandates, right, like Stormwater District is funded, it's a funded mandate that we won't ask questions on.
No, we will, and I already sent and said that I was gonna send something to get an internal audit, but,
That's not what we requested.
I understand, this is not the agenda item that we're discussing right now, and
Because
I
you
was
took it
gonna.
off.
I did, yeah, we did. We took it off for right now, and
Well, the state
because,
comptroller is now aware of this, they were sent a link to this agenda, this meeting, hoping this would be a productive and collaborative and non-confrontational.
okay, we're not, right now, this is not the agenda item we're discussing. Thank you. So I'm gonna move to approve the resolution 24 by legislator Gouldman. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So moved.
Can I make a motion that we also adopt Legislator Montgomery's memo as well?
You sure can.
I make a motion that we also adopt Legislator Montgomery's additional pertaining to the zero-emission vehicles to be sent up to the state of New York.
Need a
Rescind.
second.
Can we get a second?
What did Beth say?
Yeah, he needs a second.
I was just gonna, are you accepting it onto the agenda, or are you making a motion to approve it?
Good point. So it would have to be the first part. We'd have to get it onto the agenda and then see if we can vote on passing that.
So your motion is to get it on the agenda?
Correct.
Second. Motion fails. Okay, we're gonna move on to agenda item 25, which is an FYI guide rail and property damage report. It's confidential. It's very moving, so please do your due diligence and look that over, and we'll go from there. Item 26 is other business. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I just have an item of others business slash something that was on the agenda. I just wanted to explain to my colleagues why I stepped away during item 24.
District that you represent?
Well, as many of you know, I'm a bond counsel to a lot of municipalities throughout New York State, some of which are, you're kidding, exactly. Some of which are school districts, and some of those school districts bond for their buses.
You weren't here for that?
No, well, I guess I make an impression. So some of my school district clients bond for buses, whether they be electric or gasoline or diesel. So when Legislator Goldman had asked this to be put on an agenda, I recused myself from that, and he put it on this agenda as deputy chair. And I'm just explaining why I was absent. I think I should do that. And similarly, I wasn't here for the vote. I imagine it did make it out of committee. If it goes to the full, I'll similarly recuse. And none of you were used to me doing that, so I didn't want to shock you on April 7th. So,
The recusal came. I'm the
okay, exactly. So I just wanted to explain my absence. That's why I was away for that. Thank you.
So there's no other business.
I have
I'm gonna move to adjourn. You have other business?
I do, if I may.
Sure, Legislator
Thank you.
Montgomery.
I just want to recognize all of the work that the volunteers of the Soil and Water District have done for this past year. And I know they were looking forward to this agenda item. And they've been trying to clean up a situation they didn't create, and they shouldn't be put in a position where they feel scrutinized for doing the right thing. We should do an audit. It should be approved at this meeting. It should help validate their work and give them the support they've been missing for over a year. Me being in support of this does not reflect that I think there was something wrong. Soil and water is very complicated. I've been on this legislature 7 years, and I still can't figure it out. We have a soil and water department. We have a soil and water district. There's a lot of money involved. It comes from the state. Maybe some of it comes from the county. It was held in a trust at some bank, but
Legislator Montgomery, this was taken off the agenda. If you have other business that you'd like to bring up.
it's a thank you. It's a thank you is the other business.
Thank you. All right,
Not to you,
I'm going to
though.
move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening and welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting of the Putnam County Legislature. I'd ask everybody to please stand for the pledge. Legislator D'Angelo, would you lead us?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This committee consists of all 9 legislators. I would ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
District 1 Legislator Montgomery. Here. District 2 Legislator Goulman. District 3 Legislator Addonizio. District 4 Legislator Russo.
Present.
District 5 Legislator D'Angelo.
Present.
District 6 Legislator Regan.
Present?
District 8 Legislator Sage.
Present.
District 9 Legislator Crowley.
Present.
District 7 Chairman Birmingham.
Here. Good evening and welcome. Our item number 3 is approval of motor fuel sales tax adjustment. I will ask Legislator Goldman to move it, and then I'll ask for a second.
Thank you.
Just move it, and then we'll get the revised on.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to move this.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, okay, so now what I'd like to do is make a motion to accept a revised item number 3. We have it in our backup. All it does is change the section 2 as far as the sunset date. I'll make a motion to accept this revised. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we're discussing item 3 as revised, and I'd like to turn it over to Legislator Goulman. Bill.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank the chairman for holding this meeting that I am able to discuss, and we all can discuss and approve a motor fuel sales tax adjustment resolution. This resolution, if approved, will ease the burden of rising fuel costs by capping the amount of sales tax collected for gasoline. We are doing what we can do to help the families here in Putnam County. Government should not benefit from higher prices. We cannot control the global market, what happens nationally, or even what happens in the state. But we can control what we do here in Putnam County. That is why I have proposed this resolution. This cap will be in effect from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. The cap applies only to the county portion of the sales tax, which is 4% of the, per gallon, which is 4 cents per gallon, with a cap of $3. Here in Putnam County, we did a similar action in 2022, capping the sales tax as gas prices soared due to conflict in Russia while they invaded Ukraine. Same situation we're going through right now. With the rising cost of essential items, utilities, food, insurance, and gas, we are trying to put more money back into the pockets of Putnam County residents. We must do what we can to make our community affordable. I will be voting yes, and I hope my colleagues on this will also vote yes, so we can help our community and keep it a viable, affordable community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion among my colleagues? It's open to all 9 of us. Legislator Regan, Legislator Crowley.
On the question is, what assurances do we have that the savings will actually be realized by the members of Putnam County, and that whatever funds that would have been coming to the county are not just kept by the purveyors of gasoline, or the money goes to the state? What assurances do we have that the savings would actually be realized by the consumer?
Weights and measures?
No. Is that a rhetorical question, or would you
No,
like
no.
somebody to respond?
Yes, anybody could educate.
Why don't we, my view is, and I'd ask anybody else to jump in, and then Legislator Crowley's next. I think market forces. Tom, both you and I live in the town of Southeast, and you're probably more familiar with these 2 gas stations than I am, because they're right across the street from the Brewster Firehouse, of which you're a member of the fire department. And you know that, first of all, they're one of the, no plug here, but they're one of the cheapest ones in town, and they're always fighting with each other. They're always a penny off or from the other. And from my view, I think market forces might be at play there. If there's a competitive edge where the 4 cents per dollar over $3 might make one gas station compete more strongly against another, I'm in favor of that. And now, can we guarantee that's going to happen? No. But what we can guarantee is that if we pass this, the Putnam County budget and Putnam County government's not going to take advantage, and this is just my view, but the Putnam County government's not going to take advantage of its taxpayers because of an international crisis in the Gulf, and that, is it some relief? Yes. Is it a lot of relief? Maybe not, but for some people it might be. I mean, I've just the other day I saw somebody gassing up with $5, and maybe that filled them up, but maybe it didn't. So, I've been in that situation too, as, where I just have my last $5 to put in the tank. And if it helps somebody out, it will. And I'll defer to Commissioner, and Jake's next after.
I'm sorry, just to follow up on that. So again, I support the measure, I support the theory, and I love the idea that we here at the Putnam County Legislature are looking out for our citizens. But I would reiterate the question, and perhaps it's for another time, is how can we be certain that the savings will be realized at the pump, instead of we just not collecting what would have been that portion of tax revenue, right? Do we have, and I don't know this, is there a methodology to see that the actual prices are decreased by the amount that we're saying here? Or is it conceivable that the gas station just then takes that portion of the money that we would have collected? And I don't know, but like you said, maybe that's a weights and measures question, or if somebody has any expertise on that.
Legislator Crowley, then Legislator D'Angelo.
So,
And then
this was in 2022, had the pleasure of sitting in the audience when you guys did this. But you guys passed the gas tax cap, and back then, it was capped as local sales tax on gas at the first $2 per gallon. So if gas was $4.50 a gallon, the county tax was still only calculated at $2, not $4.50. This reduced how much tax you paid as the prices climbed. Drivers got relief from two levels. There was a state of New York tax suspension for 16 cents per gallon, and in Putnam County, additional savings from the $2 gallon tax cap. So with Legislator Regan, there are two random data checks that you can do: Weights and Measures, Consumer Affairs, so they do wholesale fuel costs versus pump prices. Nearby counties without caps also, and then you can also have like a tip line for people who call, fines and violations obviously for that. But the enforcement was like back in 2022, and some stations absorbed part of the tax savings, so that is a real thing that is going on. It does happen. We could request audits. That word is rough tonight. But I think this is wonderful. I mean, the county won't collect sales tax on any portion above, a certain point. The relief kicks in. And I think it's something that we need to do, because people are really struggling right now. And I think, I went to the pump yesterday and I paid $4.99 for a gallon on my debit card. So that stinks. And it hits home, when you're paying that much and you're filling up a car. I drive an SUV, and it's premium, but it does help, and I think people are struggling, and I think it'd be something nice to do, and we can afford to do it.
Legislator D'Angelo, then Legislator Sage.
Yeah, I'd like to start by thanking Legislator Gouldman for putting this bill before us. Obviously, there's no doubt that there is a fuel crisis right now. So to answer you, Legislator Regan, how much will it save the taxpayer? Not sure, right? It'll fluctuate. I believe it's capped at $3, which is, if I'm not mistaken, what the county, when they were putting the budget together and were putting their line item for sales tax revenue that's going to be taken in, they estimated that that sales tax revenue, with assuming gasoline was $3 a gallon. So this helps prevent us from having a budget shortfall, but also is protecting consumers from the rising costs of it. And it's also, what it's really doing too is us saying we're not going to take advantage of a rising cost, right? We're going to collect what we budgeted, for, and that's it. We're not going to take more from you. And this is also one thing I don't think was pointed out that I think is really good is this helps a lot of our other municipalities, right? Because they're also consumers of fuel and pay sales tax to this county, the highway departments, our DPW, right? So this could help them. I'd like to see this pass. I think we should support this.
Legislator Sage and Legislator Crowley, unless there's a legislator who hasn't spoken yet after Legislator Sage.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I'm in favor of this. I was on the legislature when we passed this the first time that Legislator Goldman was talking about. At the time, gas went up to a high of, like 2 months after we passed this, gas went up to over $5 a gallon, with diesel going up to $6.75 a gallon. So the taxpayers saved quite a bit of money there. I mean, personally, if I see what Chairman Birmingham was discussing earlier, is if I see something, if I see a gas station 2 cents a gallon cheaper, I'm going to that gas station. I think the market will play out on this as well. I think if it's 4 cents cheaper across the street, I'm going to go with the 4 cents cheaper per gallon. And finally, I was doing just a bit of research on this, and I think most of you know that Putnam County is in the top 5 as far as length of commute in all 62 counties. We are the top 5. I think the average commute time is 38 miles. So this is really impactful for our Putnam County taxpayers, for those who are just trying to get to work. They're not being penalized for going to work every day. We're giving them a few cents, whether it's small or not, but it does add up. And for 6 months, I think it's certainly worth it. So anytime we can give back to the taxpayer, I'm in favor of it.
Any legislator who hasn't spoken yet? Legislator Russo and then Legislator Crowley.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say I support the resolution, and I thank Legislator Goldman for bringing it forward. Every little bit helps, and right now, gas just keeps climbing. I do have a long commute to work, so it would help, but I thank him for this, and I look forward to supporting it.
Great. Erin?
So I just wanted to kind of go back to like, what do you save? So if gas is at $5, we're at 8 cents, $4.50, we're at 6 cents, $4, we're at 4 cents, $3.50, we're at 2 cents. So that's what you would save on average per gallon if we were to, if those prices went to that certain degree, if we were to put the cap on it. So when you're putting in, 16 gallons at $5, a piece, it will add up a little bit, So it is something that will add up.
An elephant gets fat off a lot of peanuts.
That's right.
There's your dad joke. We haven't had one of those in a while.
Sam remembers that. That was my go-to line back in the budget time when he was on. Legislator Montgomery.
Can I
Nancy.
ask our commissioner a
Sure.
question? I don't know, and it's fine if you can't answer. How much did we generate, like, last year? Do we have that? I could pull it up in the budget, but
Yeah, you mean in total, I don't have a breakdown by industry. I could try and get one though.
okay.
But the budget was around, the price of gas has been around $3 a gallon
Yeah.
for a long time now, and before
And
what happened.
And the county tax, yeah. I say we make it permanent.
I'm going to make a
Propose.
proposal. Any members of the legislative committee have any other comments? This is a this is a committee meeting, so we can open it up to comments from the public. Does anybody in the public have any comments?
Just real fast.
Sam?
Thank,
And you need to tell us who you are again.
thank
Yes.
you.
Sure. Go right ahead, Sam.
And legislators, thank you. The public needs this support, especially these times.
I don't know if
Thank you.
that's
Thank you.
right.
Legislator.
Oh.
Any other comments from the legislature or any members of the public? I don't know if there's an appetite out there, but I would like to make a friendly amendment. I'd couch it as that. I'd like to extend the sunset date beyond December 31st, 2026, at the risk of giving our Commissioner of Finance a second heart attack for the evening. I would like to propose that we go out to December 31st, 2027. To give it a full year and a half, because if you think about it, if it goes into effect June 1st, 2026, we're only really getting 6 months of savings here. Our taxpayers are really only getting 6 months of savings here. We do have a robust fund balance, which I've heard, And so I think we could weather the storm for another year. So I'll make that motion. I don't know if I'll have a second to change the sunset date from December 31st, 2026 to December 31st, 2027. I'll need a second, though. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Legislator Regan and Crowley. Discussion on the amendment. Laura, I saw you had your hand up.
So I have a question. The one that I was handed from Bill said from June to June 2027, and then we received a revised one that crossed off June 27 and made it December 26.
Yes, that's the one that, right now, we're looking to amend that one. At the beginning of this meeting, what we did is we made a motion to accept the revised, which does have the December 31st, 2026, the green on your paper. Right now, that's the legislation before us. So it's not June 1st, 2027, it's December 31st, 2026. My motion to amend is to move that from December 31st, 2026 to sunset at December 31st, 2027.
So my question is, Bill's was originally a year,
Yes.
and then whoever made this revised, oh, okay. Bill revised it to be less, and now you want to make it more. That's all I want to understand.
December 31st, there's a new legislature, the first, a new legislature comes in. We're gonna have 3 new members, so really, we're gonna have a brand new board at that time. So I changed it to the 31st and let the new legislators make that decision. The reality is, whoever's on the legislature at that time can change it January 1st if they want. So there's really no issue with that.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, and I would also advocate for December, because you don't know what you're gonna be facing in '27. And you can always, at a later date, extend it out to the end of '27, when you have a better idea as to what you're facing in the 2027 budget.
What's my nickname for you, Bill? The Happy Undertaker. You always
I'd
know
like
that
to
there's
know what
something.
your nickname is for him.
But no, Bill and
But
I-
even Rockland County did not go out to December of '27, and they've adopted it before us.
Oh, I
For
know.
the same concerns about '27 reasons.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I sympathize with that. But like I said, and I'm not trying to be cheeky or snarky or anything, we do have a significant cushion if we needed to fall back on I think the argument today would still up. They do, perhaps, and I'm not saying they do or don't, but I think the theme and the policy initiative behind this would still be at play. At least the reason I'm voting for it is because I don't want, whether it's an international crisis now with the Iranian conflict, or whether it's something else that drives it up to $5 or $6 next year in 2027, I'd still not rather have this county government profit off of whatever calamity might be next year. Yes, we'll probably be facing those stresses as well. We buy gas as well, even though we don't pay the sales tax on it. Higher gas prices means our expenses go up as well. But to the extent we could, I'll call it have skin in the game, as far as not taking advantage of, what might be extraordinarily high gas prices even in '27, I think the policy initiative that I'm in favor of this for today would still hold true next year. Might go higher, or other stresses we might have. So it's not a bad point you make, but it's just something that I think we could probably weather pretty well. Any other legislators or any other member of the public? Amy, and then Bill.
Just discussing your amendment to extend it. We're still collecting gas tax up to $3 a gallon, so we're not going to be missing out on the entire gas tax. And in fact, prior to this conflict war in the Middle East, it was just below $3 a gallon. So I think, in my perception, I would support extending it to the end of the year to 2027, because we're not missing our gas tax, but we're still giving the taxpayer a break over $3 a gallon to, I don't know, to maybe until it goes down. It could go down. If this war ends in 3 months from now, it could go right back down. So I would support the amendment.
Thank you. Bill?
We have done precedents before where we have a limited time where we do things. 1% sales tax, we revisit that every year or two. And then we make a decision as a body. Do we extend it, do we not extend it? We also do with the clothes and footwear for $110. We could have extended that, forever, but we did that for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and we revisited at that time, and we choose whether we do it or not. The reason I limited it till December 31st, basically was, it's a new legislature at that time. So, let them make a decision, and just like clothes and footwear and the 1%, we could extend it if we choose to do that, or don't.
Okay. Any other legislators? On the amendment, I'll ask for a roll call vote to amend it to go out to December 31st, 2027.
All right, Legislator Addonizio, Legislator Crowley,
No.
Legislator D'Angelo,
Yes.
Legislator Bullman,
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Regan,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
No.
Legislator Sage,
Yes.
and Chairman Birmingham.
Yes. Okay, we have a, thank you. We have a resolution before us. Any other amendments or any other discussion? On the resolution as amended, and just for everybody's edification, although there's 9 of us around this table, we're still a committee. This is merely to pre-file it for our April 7th meeting. I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Legislator
So
Addonizio,
what are we doing now?
Yes, we are, the resolution has been amended to go out to 2027. Now we're back to the main resolution as amended to pre-file it for the full meeting on April 7th.
Yes.
Thank you.
Legislator Crowley,
Yes.
Legislator D'Angelo,
Yes.
Legislator Bullman, Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Regan,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
Yes.
Legislator Sage,
Yes.
and Chairman Birmingham.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Before we move on to adjournment, I'd like to make a motion to accept an additional item. I would like to make a motion to authorize a non-forensic audit for the Putnam County Soil and Water Conservation District, monies received by the county. Is there a second to accept this additional item?
Second.
All in favor of accepting this additional item?
Aye.
Any nays? All in favor. Now we have before us, in concept, a resolution for authorizing, I'll call it a non-forensic audit, because we had a healthy discussion about that earlier. And again, I'll make a motion to have that audit performed by a pursuant to our powers under 2.04I of the county charter to allow us to have examinations and audits and investigations, very loaded words, but that's not what we're doing here, just simply to know the ins and outs. I think what we're going to find here, and I'll make the motion to make that audit. Do I have a second? We accepted
Second.
it on, okay, so that's the second. Just a little background. I think what we're going to find here is a lot of the money that went in and out of the county budget from the soil and water conservation funds from the state were by dint of and because of a lot of the legislation we passed as a legislature and that the administration administered on our behalf. As a member of this legislature, I just want to know where the money went in and out. I think it's a healthy exercise. I think we can learn some best practices for that. Again, as a member of the legislature, I want to know that, but as also a member of the Soil and Water Conservation District Board, we passed a resolution a week and a half ago at the suggestion, I won't say request, but at the suggestion of the state controller, only because we had asked the state controller to do an audit. So that's really the spirit behind this. It's not to point fingers. It's not to make in any way any sort of accusations. I just think, as Legislator Montgomery was saying earlier, I've been on this legislature. This is my 10th year, and that and the Ag Board, I got to, that's not my strength. So there have been some questions. I have, just from a procedural standpoint, nothing more. So that's the spirit in which my resolution is made, and hopefully it's the spirit in which it was seconded. And I know the Legislative Council is going to help us draft something for the April 7th meeting. Legislator Sage, Legislator Crowley, then Legislator D'Angelo. Amy?
So say the fiscal arm of county government, that's our responsibility, is to oversee the fiscal health of the county. I don't see, and as a previous auditor, we can call for a special audit. It doesn't have to be called forensic. It doesn't have to be called, it could be called a special audit. We could call a special audit of anything that we so choose as the fiscal advisors or the fiscal oversight for the county. So I don't know why this is faced with any type of opposition, because we really have the oversight to call and see whatever we want. And I think this has probably been skimmed over for many years. I was on the Soil and Water Board for several years, the first part of my term here, and honestly, I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea. I mean, we would vote on vehicles, it would go towards salaries, and this was all perfectly fine. Our district manager had the oversight and said this is all perfectly fine, and I knew that but I'd like to see where it was. And I don't think that there's any foul in calling for a special audit. Doesn't have, I'm not saying anything's a foul or anything's wrong, but just to see where the money goes, and I think that's our purview here at the legislature. That's the purpose of our job.
Legislator Crowley, then Legislator D'Angelo, then Legislator Montgomery.
At
Erin?
the end of the meeting, I had actually asked Beth to work on a memo tomorrow to ask and request that already.
Okay.
So I support you in that and have no issue. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Jake, then Nancy.
Yeah, I totally am in favor of auditing tax dollars. I think we should always know how our money's being spent. I guess my question would be, is there a fiscal impact to us doing an audit on this? And the reason I do ask is because County Executive Byrne did have the state comptroller do a risk assessment a few years back, and I know it's not the same as an audit, but it did lead to us finding some discrepancies that led to the golf course being audited, right? And so if they didn't really find much risk in this, again, I'm in favor with things being audited. I just don't want to create an additional expense to the taxpayer if there's really not actually an issue there. Again, this is a situation that predates me, just kind of asking a question.
Yeah, the answer to your question, I think, is most certainly yes. I think we will have to spend some money to hire an outside auditor. Part of the process, I believe, will be to, first of all, design a scope as to what exactly in particular we're looking for. I mean, I'm describing it as the Part A, B, and C money coming into the county through our budget, us sending it out into what we call a soil and water conservation, a soil and water department. Also, some of the money went into the highway department, and some of the money went into some other departments, all of which I suspect is going to be very above board and legitimate and nothing wrong with it. But in order to get those answers, to answer your question, yes, we do have a line in our own budget, meaning the legislature's budget, where we could allocate some money for that. And I think once we get an idea of what that'll cost us, we'll most certainly have to come back with a fund transfer or budgetary amendment to do that.
So I'm just, for clarification, or because I don't have any verbiage in front of me, this is just something you're talking about, I'm not reading a resolution or anything of that nature. Are you asking us to vote on something that, A, doesn't have words in front of us, and B, without knowing what the fiscal impact is and what it will cost?
With respect to the fiscal impact, I don't anticipate, in fact, I would vote against any sort of budgetary amendment that would come before the legislature at the April 7th meeting. I don't think we're there yet. I think what we have to do is, first of all, decide whether this legislature, first through committee and then as a full legislature, wants to do it. If at that point, on April 7th, assuming it passes out of committee tonight, if we are of the mind to do that, then having an audit will, the permission to do an audit will then allow us to scope it better, and that'll give us an idea to, and I've been speaking with Michelle about this, we're obviously going to have to go through our General Services Department for our procurement policies, and they'd probably be able, along with Bill's help too, I would hope, give us an idea about what kind of money we'd need to spend. Now, having said that, nobody says, I'm not asking tonight, nor will I be asking on the 7th for any budgetary resolution to be put forward. This is just for the concept at this point.
Is there a deadline for, is there any rush on this happening right now? I don't feel ever comfortable voting on things that I'm not reading. Like, I get the concept of an audit, but what does that look like, right? I want to look at it, be able to see it before I feel confident in voting in it, on it. I, of course, support, again, every tax dollar being held accountable. I just want to make sure we're doing it the right way.
And I don't disagree with you. The good thing about tonight's meeting, even though it's all 9 of us, it's just a committee meeting. We will have something by the deadline of 5 days before the meeting in writing, before April 7th, that will be in writing that, again, assuming it comes out of committee tonight, each legislator will have something in writing by the required deadline for the 7th meeting. So certainly I don't think anybody would blame you or anyone else for abstaining or voting no at this point, and then certainly your prerogative, and then get more comfortable or not by April 7th with something written in front of you. And just so everybody knows, this really isn't unusual. Sometimes we do pass out of committee concepts and then put them in, along with the help of our legislative counsel, put them in writing before the full meeting happens. And again, that we we have to get that written document within 5 days prior to the meeting. So you raise very good points, and hopefully that helps give you some comfort.
Sure.
We had Legislator Montgomery, then Legislator Crowley.
Just questioning, the request came in for a forensic audit, and I would refer Legislator D'Angelo to the March 24th memo from the Soil and Water District, and then maybe you probably don't have access to the year's worth of memos and emails from the Soil and Water District requesting information regarding these funds. So the request came in for a forensic audit. I want to ensure that the Soil and Water District Board is having some input. So the request was for a forensic audit. I don't see anything wrong with a forensic audit. I don't see anything wrong with a regular audit as long as we have direction from the Soil and Water Board on what the scope of the audit is. For example, verification of all expenditures, reconciliation of transfers, reconciliation of all account balances, everything that we've received up until now, in addition to what they would recommend. So I'm having a difficult time understanding and deciding whether or not I want to pursue a forensic audit, being that, this board has sat before us for a year and asked for information. They're trying to clean up a situation they didn't create, and they, I don't want to put them in a position where they feel like they're being scrutinized or wrongly asking for something. This is just trying to get information. So, again, I have a year's worth of information that warrants requesting this tonight, and I'm happy to move it forward. I just don't know if it should be a forensic or a regular audit. And we don't have those details written in a resolution yet anyway.
Yeah. Legislator Crowley?
So in the resolution 384, it says, whereas upon any such transfer, all fiduciary duties, financial responsibilities, liabilities, obligations, accounting functions, reporting requirements, tax obligations, audit responsibilities, and compliance obligations of any kind whatsoever, whether arising under local, state, or federal law, shall rest solely and exclusively with the district, and shall not be shared or attributed to the county in any respect. That was passed in December. So does a forensic audit, the cost of it, fall on Soil and Water, because we passed,
Can't audit themselves.
Well, to answer your question, and I'll get to Legislator Sage next. I just wanted to answer directly Legislator Crowley's question. Even though, thanks guys, thanks, appreciate it. Even though that was passed, that we still have, county records that as a legislature we can look into and research and audit. And not unfortunately, but rightly so, an outside agency, meaning the Soil and Water Conservation District Board, they can't audit, they can't make an audit of our books. They're not their books, they're our books. And so only we can do an audit of our books. And,
Sorry.
sure.
They weren't ever supposed to be our books, they were always supposed to be their books.
No, well, that's, I think you're hitting the crux of the question.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
Well,
you're,
I understand that point, but the resolution that was passed says that, and once the IMA was signed, that's, all of that kind of says that they're gonna be solely responsible financially. So I agree with you that something needs to happen, that they need answers. I was one of the people that asked for answers.
yep, you were.
I agree, but I do, they have to answer to the state, they have a lot of things they have to do to keep getting this money, and I understand all of those parts. But I'm just looking at the resolution and wondering that maybe legislative council can weigh in on that to give us some clarity if,
Sure, what I'd like.
we should hire an outside,
But Legislator Sage is next, and I'm going to go to Legislative Council. The Soil and Water Conservation District Board could hire any auditor they want. That auditor would not have the ability to audit our books without our permission. And, these are county records, and they wouldn't have the ability to do that without our permission. And this is a way for us to grant that permission for an auditor that we hire, because again, these are our books. And again, I don't think there's going to be anything here that is going to be remarkable. I think what it'll do, though, it'll show how the county has operated this department/district, because I think for many years, those were commingled going back to 1993. And again, not for any nefarious purpose, but that's just the way it was. And in fact, I've come to learn recently, because I've served on the Soil and Water Conservation District Board for only 2 months, some counties do have a hybrid system like that, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I don't suspect anything underhanded is going to be discovered, but I think we owe it to ourselves and our taxpayers, and I think to these volunteer members that we have serving on this board, I think we owe them answers too, especially if they're going to be signing documents that make them responsible for that. Legislator Sage and then Legislative Council.
So I'm very much in favor of an audit. This could be possibly like a baseline audit. We've recently signed that IMA, and it goes to the Soil and Water District. But it would be nice to know at this point, a baseline at the transfer of this particular, this IMA. We should be able to request an audit in the future, so we can see, we should have oversight of Putnam County funds, and I think we need oversight. We should be able to request, maybe audit, they provide an audit to us in 2 years, to see, where they are.
Follow-up audit.
A follow-up audit, absolutely, and this gives us a place to start. I don't think we need to give up our fiscal oversight just because we handed it over to an IMA. We should absolutely be following up, but the first thing we need to do is have I would call it a special audit of the soil and water records, depending on how far back we want to go. Probably not too far, it's a lot of records, but. Yeah.
Legislative Council, then any other legislator that hasn't spoken yet, then I'd like to open it up to the general audience. Legislative Council.
Sure, through the chair, just to clarify, they have responsibility for the funds when it is in their possession going forward. That was the purpose of that. They obviously cannot have any responsibility or ability to comment on monies that are not in their possession, as you correctly pointed out. So just to clarify that language, they were accepting that responsibility, and that going forward, they're responsible for the money within their possession.
Thank you, good point. Any legislator who hasn't spoken yet? Seeing none, I'd like to open it up to any member of the public. Please join us.
Bill Cassandra. I feel it was kind of deja vu. We were here over a year ago last time when we were arguing IMA, MOU, and I said at the time, I don't care what you call it, just something that gets us to where there is a baseline. Because I don't care what you call it. I could care less. I didn't come up with that term, that name. We asked for technical guidance.
from OSC to say, because we have asked for a year, and we're not being told no, we're just never getting information. And we do have to report to the state every year a treasurer's report. We have to do an audit. We couldn't do that audit this year because we couldn't get that information. Not because we didn't just want to peacefully go, hey, someone give us these records. You requested them and brought it up last year. We all should be asking that. This is to the tune of almost $1 million of, it's not county taxpayer money in technicality, it's the one thing that is funded from the state. The one thing that is funded that gives deference to the county, to people that you put on this board unanimously. Put 3 of us on this board and put yourselves on 2. Why is this a concern? It is to give us a baseline so that with this IMA that just got signed today, even though we've been trying since September, we've been saying IMA, MOU, don't care what you call it. Put something in writing so that someone knows the district department since 1993 to previous to 1966 has been done wrong. Again, I've never said misfeasance, malfeasance, political intent. I've said none of that. I didn't want to be on this board. All of you met me, most of you met me last year in 2024. I wanted nothing to do with soil and water, nothing. But these are programs for the first time in New York State that are actually funded, and they go, guess what? Legislature, you have home rule authority to pick 5 people, 2 of which are legislators, to sit on the board to do the right thing. We have a district technician that we're gonna be hiring. We have an actual person because the district is who's supposed to hire the staff. This district board has never hired the staff. So we've corrected that. They have to do bookkeeping. They have to help us with audits every year because we are going to do audits every year, and we will come here as often as you want to hear about soil and water again. We can't do that without a baseline. So I don't care if you call it forensic audit. I don't care if you call it a special audit. I don't care if you give it a whole new cool name. I am so done with asking for basic information, for transparency and for information. I don't ever want to have to come to this legislature to ask that. But when the technical guidance were provided by OSC, which goes, you don't have records, you don't have minutes, you don't have documentation, you have no invoices, you have no board resolutions to support you, you've reported to the state for years, they don't love that. And that's on us. So we have to at least establish for our liability's sake, moving forward, we want to do the right thing. We are. We have minutes, we have records, we have everything now. But we need to close that gap. We need a baseline just to give us the baseline, so that we know, and when we come to you next year, and we give you our audit, which we will have done externally, that's what districts pay for, is an external audit, line by line. So as long as it's a line by line, with a time frame determined, this can't be avoided because it was state aid funding that sat in the county's custody that then no one ever has given us information for. We got a post-it, we got a county ledger because Legislator Crowley had asked for it in October, even though we had asked for it 4 months. We wanted bank statements. We never received them. February, as this IMA discussion was going on, we got a completely separate standalone spreadsheet with a totally new number I've never seen before. Resolution numbers that do not match resolutions of the past. So these are why there's questions. I didn't want to come here. I don't want to be here tonight. I'm not a legislator. I don't get paid to be here, as minimal as it is. This was a simple request to just do the due diligence. The legislature in this county was the ones responsible for those funds. The IMA that got finally signed by everybody today, I don't know how much money we're getting. No idea. It could be the spreadsheet I got in February. It could be the posted from September. I don't know. So I'm hoping the county will be generous, but also we want to make sure we're not getting more than we should. We don't want to get less than we should. We need to know if we have a soil and water district truck. Told we were, waiting on a VIN and title, no idea. There's a batwing mower. We reported that was purchased for the district. There's other equipment that was purchased for DPW. We need to sort that out. Because when we get insurance, which is a mandate of this IMA, I need to know what we're insuring. I have no idea. Now, not because our board has not went, we tried to do this and just have the conversation of, we went through SFS, we've done everything we can by pulling down state records, what was provided to this county for the district. I pulled all that down. SFS, financial records of what came in, but I have no idea what went out, and I have no backup, and I've gotten no support. So that's all we're asking for. I don't care what you call it, and that will be the thing that goes on in infamy, is whatever you guys want to call that audit, line by line, in and out, is what's required by OSC and standard controls for management. That's all we're asking for. So 2018, the reason why I say 2018 to now and not forever, 2018 is when every year before 2018, district funds did not roll over. If you didn't use it, you lost it. In 2018, the numbers started growing, but they gave more flexibility to districts where it rolled over. It rolled over. Because this district was not run properly for the better part of a long time, since I would say 2018, 2019, there was a lot of commingling. That is why we need that number. We need to know what rolls over. The treasurer's reports we've seen don't match year to year. We just need that baseline. So it's to make sure the money came in from the state for these programs, which is for lake districts, for agricultural landowners, for land trusts, for things that are unfunded mandates of, what do? DEC and DEP always give you heck for certain things with your lakes and your streams and things like that. That's what we get this money for, and we are paralyzed right now. So, don't care what you call it. I can't say that more times. As long as it's something, it happens expeditiously, and yes, it should not have to have gotten here where it costs money. Answer the questions, and it doesn't have to cost any money. So, use your judgment in what that is, but make sure that if you're gonna go through the motion, it's line by line, so that there's documentation and backup, so that now that the IMA is signed, everybody's done, and nobody has to hear about soil and water again, unless we have money to give away to the local landowners and communities. Thank you.
Thank you. For any other member of the public? Bill?
Thank you, Chairman. The IMA was signed today. We've been talking about the IMA for a long time. Where has it been sitting? Whose desk has it been sitting? Can I ask council and the commissioner what has been the delay in this situation?
I got it today, and it was signed the 26th.
Today? Okay,
I got it today, I signed it today.
thank you. Council?
There were a number of delays at multiple levels. First, it was a delay with NYMER to determine if NYMER was gonna provide coverage or whether the district was gonna get their own coverage. It took a while to sort through that. It took time at each level for people to review it. And then I circled back with the language to Cassandra when there was edits made, and she had some final edits, and then we did that and I sent it forward. But I mean, I don't think there's any one desk it was sitting on. I think it was just the collective desks that were involved in trying to coordinate all of them. I can tell you, I worked as diligently as I could to move it through each desk and to follow up when it was sitting on a desk for a time, and I was communicating with the board every step of the way as to what was happening. So I don't think there's anyone to blame. I think it just takes time to create a document that everyone is comfortable with when there's multiple departments that have to review it and there's multiple facets involved. But, I mean, I can tell you from the time that an IMA was proposed, I got a draft done, and I worked as diligently as I could to pass it through each of the respective departments.
So, once everything was completed, I guess was today, the county, our employees are the ones that signed it, and it was done right away, right? So it was out of our control on the county level till today. Is that correct?
I mean, I don't wanna say it was out of our control, it was within our control the whole time, it just, there was multiple desks it had to go to. The longest delay was NYMER, which was out of our control. And we made the decision, in consultation with the board, to have the board seek their own independent insurance, and work with us instead of the reverse of us insuring and working with them. That moved it forward.
Any legislators before I reopen it back to the public? Cassandra?
Well, just to that end, because NYMER was taking that long, I went, then spoke to the board, and on my own, with the board support, went to those solicit to take that slowdown away, to give an alternate resource of independent insurance for the district. So that was a decision made by us to stop the slowdown. So, though Ms. Beasley has been very responsive, our board has done everything we can. I get government takes time, but I am tired.
Yeah. No, and do you have a comment?
No, I don't.
Okay. No problem. first of all, I want to thank the 3 volunteers who are here, who are members of the board. Thank all 3 of you. Laura and I serve on the board, Soil and Water Conservation District Board as legislative reps. We're full voting members, but we are liaisons from this board, from this legislature to the board, the district board. And also I'd like to thank Heather, as I always do. You wear a lot of hats, and I know you were working with the board, certainly the Conservation District Board, and Cassandra quite extensively, and so thank you for that as well. Any other comments from the legislators or the public on this? Seeing none, I'd like to ask for a roll call vote, Diane, to pass this on to the full, and we'll have a written resolution. Jake? Do you have-
And it's just what are we passing? We're passing
We're
just through the.
passing the authority to make use of Section 2.04I, I believe it is, of the charter to initiate our own audit, going back to 2018, for funds that came into the county coffers from New York State for the Soil and Water Conservation District purposes, and funds that went out into our budget.
Okay.
And that'll be much more specifically enumerated in the written document. But yes, that's what it's exercising part of our powers under 2.04 of the charter to cause an audit for those purposes.
Okay.
Great. Diane?
Legislator Adonisio, Legislator Crowley,
I'm gonna pass right now.
Legislator D'Angelo,
Yes.
Legislator Goulman, Legislator Montgomery,
Yes.
Legislator Regan,
Yes.
Legislator Russo,
Yes.
Legislator Sage,
Yes.
and Chairman Birmingham.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Oh, you're coming back to me.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were
I was passing to come back. Like,
Oh,
come
That was
back.
abstain.
Come back.
Yes,
That means.
Yes,
yes.
okay, got it.
Okay, you're yes?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Yes.
Passes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn from anybody.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.